Eyes are one of the first things that can make you look older. So I'm going to give you many tips on how you can look younger. Today's video is all about eyes. So to me, eyes are one of the game changers to make you look younger. There are so many tips and tricks. I think I have like 15 of them. So I'm going to dive right in. All right, as we grow older, one of the things that is maddening is we start to lose our hair on our brows and our eyelashes. It's so frustrating, but it does happen to most of us. So there are some things that you can do to bring back that youthful look. One of the things you can do is first to enhance what you got, and then you can also try to get more of those hairs. So one of the things that I've been using for about a month and a half now is Grande Brow and Grande Lash. I love these. I've talked about them. Probably my regulars are like, we know, Bobby. But I am telling you, these things work. My lashes are so, I think they're double the length. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but they're so much easier. Like, they go on perfectly. I am amazed by them. Then the brows, same thing. I have hair where I didn't used to have hair. Now, do I have the brows that I had in the 1980s when I was a teenager? No, I do not have that. Although I never really had really big eyebrows. I never had that. But I definitely have better looking brows and better looking lashes than I did before. So I absolutely highly recommend this product. Another thing that will make our eyes look older is when we have veins in our eyes and they're not just as bright as they used to be. The whites are not as white as they used to be. One of the things that you can use is Lumify. I actually forgot to use it today. This has made a big change. Now, this is not something you're going to use every day. I use this. I try to remember to use it before I film, and I'll use it if I want to just look a little bit more vibrant, like if there's a special occasion. It really does make a difference. So that's another thing that you can do to make you look younger. Learning to do your eyebrows is one of the most important things that you can do to make your face look younger. There's a lot of tutorials out there, and I've done a few myself, so I'm gonna have a playlist at the end of this for you guys to see. Here's a couple tips that I will say along with the playlist that you guys can watch after this. First, put all of your brow products above your eye as much as possible. What you wanna do is to you're drawing people's eyes to look upward. You're trying to get everything that you have on your face to kind of bring things up, because gravity is doing its thing on your face and drawing us all down. So we're trying to counter that by strategic placement of products on your face. And one of those is your brow products. So putting it so that it brings your arch up. Instead of bringing things down here to make your brows look thicker, put it up here to make it look. Now, don't go crazy. You don't want to go massively over your hairline. There is going to be times when you've got empty space underneath. So you've got spaces to fill in, and I have that as well. That's the only time I go under my brow. So I'm either going on my brow hairs itself or above it, like 99% of the time. Now, once you have your brow products on, there are other things that you're going to do to your brows, but you're going to do them after you've done your eyeshadow. The next thing you're going to want to do is to concentrate on your eyelids themselves. Now, if you're a person that doesn't really care about eyeshadow, that's fine. But what I would recommend is at least evening out your skin tone. As we grow older, your eyelids become very thin, and that's why they get crepey and they get discolored, because your skin is not disguising the things that are happening behind it anymore because it's very thin. And that's what makes you look older. A younger person usually has a very even skin tone on their eyelids. The first thing you're going to do to get this remedied is put an eye primer on. I highly recommend Thank Me Later. This will make it so that anything that you put on your eyes afterwards will lock them in place. You will not get creasing. You will not have your mascara be blotchy where it touches your eyelids and all of that. In my opinion, this is the best eye primer out there, at least that I have found so far. After you get your eye primer on, what I do is I put a concealer all over my eyelid, from my eyelashes all the way to my brow. This gives me an all over color and it conceals all that blotchiness, and it really does make my eyes look younger. I put that on with a little sponge. That's just a Real Technique sponge. It's the perfect size for working with your eyelid. Now make sure that you moisten it, and then when I have it, I will take it and put it in a towel or a dry washcloth, and I'll squeeze as much of that out. I only want it damp. I don't want it wet. And then just pounce it where you've put a little bit of that concealer. Now your concealer, you're going to use the same color as your normal skin. You're not using the same concealer that you would under your eye where you want that to be a little bit brighter. The last step is to set it in. Otherwise it'll feel sticky, because concealer is meant to not be on a movable part. It's meant to be under your eyes to cover a blemish or something like that. You can set it with just a setting powder. Number 7's Lift and Illuminate is one of my favorites, and you could just do that. Take a brush, take your finger, and just put it on your eyelid and set, and you're done. If you don't want to use anything else, that will give you a great look. I like to use an all over eyeshadow color to cover it all up. One that's close to my skin color, maybe just a little bit darker. So I'm using one from Buxom there, but you would just use a color that would match your skin tone, maybe a little bit darker, and then just even out. That's how I like to set it. Now at this point you could be done. I like to do some eyeshadow, and my eyeshadow does a couple things. It opens my eyes, and it also disguises one of my flaws. I have a puffy eye right here in the corner, so it's just a little bit puffy. This one doesn't have it nearly as much, and so I like to darken that area up. One thing that you want to remember is darkness recedes things. It brings them back, and lightness brings it forward. So people are going to notice lightness. That's why when you smile, people are drawn to your teeth, as long as they're white. I want to disguise the fact that I am puffy over here. So I'm going to use a eyeshadow, and I'm going to concentrate a little bit on my corner, and I'm going to bring it, and I'm basically doing an arch or like a rainbow, just back and forth, and I'm bringing it over to this puffiness right here so that I can disguise it. Now, of course, I need to do it here too, because they need to match, even though this eye isn't puffy. But I want that darkness to kind of recede. I don't want the first thing to look at and go, is her eye puffier? So I'm bringing it over, and I'm also bringing my color just above where my crease is. Now, I have hooded eyes, so my crease is like right here, and I'm bringing my powder just a little bit above it because I want it to look not so hooded. So I'm bringing it up a little bit. I'm going to take a fluffy brush and make sure it's very blended. So that's what you see me doing there. Blend it all really well. The one thing I have done is I've gone in with a little bit darker of a color, and I've done that just on this eye, and then any remaining went here, but not a lot. Most of it went on this one because, again, this one's puffier. I kind of want it to recede more than this one. And you can do that with other things, however your eyes are. Play with it. Just play with what would work for you. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lightness right underneath my brow hairs, right at the top, like right underneath my brow. What that does is it brings the eyes up. Now, I'm not doing a huge amount here, not like massive whiteness and some line that's going across. It's very subtle, but because you want it to blend. You don't want it to be like, okay, nice lines above your at your eyes. You want it to look natural, but an enhanced natural. So I'm taking just a lighter color. It looks pretty white in the pan, but when I get it on my eye, it really doesn't look that white. My last little tip for getting a little bit of color and eyes to go up, so when people look at you, they look upwards, is to put on highlight right underneath your brows. We're not talking like a strobing kind of highlight, something that's going to be like 2 lines underneath your eyebrows. That is not what we're talking. One of my favorites is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. Basically my color, but just a little bit of sheen to it, and I love it. So I'm just going to take it and put a couple little dots, just like that, right underneath my brow bone. And I'm just going to take my finger, not my bone, but on my brow bone. And I'm just going to blend it in by like pouncing my finger. And that's pretty much it. And make sure there's no harsh lines. Now, you're not going to see it very much because it's hard to see this in a camera. But when I am out and about in real life, it just gives a little bit of color up there. Not color, sheen and lightness to it, so that it just looks a little bit lifted, and we'll take any kind of lifting we can get. All right, so yay. Okay, now that all my eye stuff is on, the next thing I'm going to do is finish out my eyebrows. First, I'm going to add a gel that is a colored gel that goes with my eyebrow hair, and I like the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It's $4. It works amazing. It deposits the right amount. It doesn't get all over my other hairs. I'm just amazed by it. So, especially for $4. So I'm just gonna run this through my eyebrow hairs, and I do this after I do any shadow because I could get that shadow on those hairs, and I want to now cover them all up and make sure they're all look as dark as they possibly can. And then I let it sit for a little bit. Then I'm gonna go back and I'm going to use a brow gel. And what this does, it's actually clear. It looks like it's tan in here, but that's because I've used it so much, so it's gotten discolored. This is a DIY brow gel. I have this video as part of that playlist. And this has been a game changer because this keeps my eyebrows upward. And that's another thing you wanna do. My brows tend to droop. They tend to just look kind of sad because they just go down. No matter what I do, that's just the way they grow. So I want to try to fight that and have them go up. In other words, making it look younger. So what this does is it goes through my brow hairs and it will hold them in place all day, like all day. I am so amazed by this. So this is a wonderful game changer for me as well. Okay, another thing that makes your eyes look older is darkness under your eyes and puffiness. I've been loving, and I literally just got it like last week, is the Lancome Tint Idol. This is new, it's a newer one for them. And I've never really used their concealer, but I've been hearing good things about it. And oh my goodness, this stuff really is good. It is worth the $29 that it is. First, it's gonna last me a long time, so that makes it easier to swallow that cost. But oh my heart, this is so good. So, okay, and I'm not sponsored by any of the things I'm talking about, just so you know. I just get excited over products that work. Here's my trick. If you have a puffiness, like you've got puffy eyes, and I have minimum puffy eyes, but they're definitely puffier sometimes. What happens is that puffiness comes out and it causes a shadow. So you don't actually have darker under eyes, you just have a shadow. So if I go like this, you see a shadow much more because the light is coming down. But if I go like this, it doesn't show as much. So what you want to do is lighten up underneath your eye. So take your concealer and you're going to put the concealer right at the bottom of that puffiness. Don't put it anyplace else, and use only as much as you need and no more. Your eyes are all different, so you may place it a little bit differently than me. But for me, it's right at the bottom of there, and then I do a little bit up here in the corner because I want to lighten that up. Take the brush and then just kind of dab it all under your eye, right where that darkness is or right where the end of that puffiness is. And then I work it up into the corner. And then I just kind of feather it out the rest of the way so that I have no more, so there's no line or weirdness there. If you want, after you've done all that, you can take the same brush or sponge that you use to put your foundation on and then just kind of dab around. Don't go on top of the eye, dab around it, and that will kind of help blend those two colors so you don't see any line of demarcation. You don't want that. After you've done your under eye, the thing that you're gonna be worried about is creasing, and creasing just makes you look older. It just exemplifies your wrinkles. Let it sit there a couple minutes, then look at yourself before you add anything else. Look at yourself in close up 10 times zoom. And then if you see creasing, just kind of dab it out or take the brush and dab it out. Now, how I set it at that point is to take my setting powder, again, the Lift Illuminate, and I will take a puff, dab it in, take your finger or your brush and pull and then dab in right underneath your eye. And don't use a lot, go very little. Again, as much as you need and no more. Don't go crazy and go little, you can build on it. The more powder you have, the more your wrinkles are going to stand out because it looks dry. Another thing that will make you look older is heavy eyeliner. As you get older, it's not as easy to pull off. So what you want to do is to get the look of an eyeliner without an actual eyeliner. A couple things that you can do. I use an eyeliner that will go underneath my eye. It's called tight lining. So tight line right underneath in your waterline on the top. I use a brown so it's not so harsh, and that will give me the look of fuller eyelashes without adding any lashes or adding any eyeliner that will take away that real estate. And then for underneath your eyes, you could leave them blank or you could go ahead and add a little bit of brown color. I used a brown color that went with what I have on my my eyelids, and I use a tiny, tiny little BK Beauty brush to go under, and then I smudged it out to make it look very even. And that's another way to get you that nice eyelined look without having that harshness of an eyeliner. The last thing you're gonna do is put mascara on, and mascara is, to me, the thing that just brings it all together. So a couple tricks. First, you wanna curl your eyelashes. Curl them so that they have a nice curl, not a fold. So your eyelashes should not look like this when they're done. They should look like that when you're done. So when I curl, I'll curl really close to my eyelashes. I will bring it down a little bit, which I'm bringing out from my eyelashes. I'll do a couple more curls. I bring it out again and I do it a lighter, and I'm doing a little bit less of pressure each time. And then I go back into the real close one and I bring it up. That gives me a curl, not a fold. I will take the mascara, and I am using the Grande Mascara Waterproof Conditioning. I love this mascara. I will first take it and I wiggle a little bit and bring it up. And wiggling just gets the mascara to deposit onto your eyelashes. And then bring it all the way up. Then I will take the wand or the brush, and I will just go right across the tips of my eyelashes because I want to make sure that I get mascara on my tips. Otherwise, I might not get the whole length and look that I want. And then I go immediately and then just brush them all out. So I get as good as a look as I can. Love that. Now, some people do not put mascara on the bottom of their eyes. I do not have it on the bottom of my eyes right now. And I did that on purpose. Now I'm gonna add it so you guys can see the difference. I think it's a personal preference. I stopped doing it quite a while ago. And I think half of it was because it would smudge. But this mascara doesn't smudge. Okay, so there, I don't know if you guys can tell the difference there. So it does give it a different look, but I don't do a lot. I don't want it to look like a spider on my eyes, so I do it very little. Another thing you may notice that I didn't put any powder right in the middle of my lid. Some people will add a shimmer there. I have pretty crepey eyes, and so I feel like a shimmer will make it look a little bit older because the shimmer makes your eye go to that part. Instead of people looking up here, they're looking to here. So on me personally, I don't really like a shimmer on my eyes. If it's all matte, it's not highlighting things on the eyes, it's kind of receding it. And then the whiteness of my eyes show, and then the tip of my eyebrows show, and that's what I want to stand out. So shimmer is a preference thing. If you're going to do shimmer, what I recommend is doing one that's very much like a sheen and not a glitter. And then what I would do is to just put it on the center of your eye right here, basically where the tip of my finger is. And that would be right there, only in the movable part. Make sure it doesn't go above your crease. So that almost when you're opened eyes, you don't see it, but as you look and things, it will catch the light. And it can look pretty. And I do think that's a pretty look in the evening. And I do use that sometimes in the evening. I have linked the brow playlist right here, so that will give you a bunch of more tips on how to get the best looking brows that you can have. I will see you on that video, or I'll see you in the next one. God bless.